Hey everyone, this is the Royersford Tower of Health bike race here down in Royersford. Uh, Great race, great event, great staff putting it on. This is the 2022 version here. So yeah, let's get into it. Ended up being a pretty good day in terms of not being too hot or too windy, but the wind definitely did play a factor here. So we'll just kind of head through the course, a little bit technical here. This is the one technical turn, this left-hander. A lot of people were braking for, but I don't necessarily think you had to brake for it. Now, as we go around, there's obviously a school in the center of this course, which helps to block a lot of the wind. So as we're coming up here, if this was just an open field, there would be a big left to right crosswind. And then when you can actually feel it, that is as you're heading around this last left-hander and you're heading straight down the finish, it's a headwind. So that's just to give you an idea on the wind direction. So as we're turning here, then on the day, it was a headwind here through the finish, which definitely changed the way that I was looking at doing the race, kind of hoping to save it till a little bit later rather than an earlier attack. All throughout the race, really looking at trying to make it in the break if the break does happen, and there were a few decent attempts, one of which a little bit later in the race I actually bridged, but for some reason there were a few very motivated riders and also some oddly motivated riders from the QCW team, which is the riders right in front of me, or Conshohocken. Just some things that just didn't make sense in terms of teamwork, with pulling their own riders back and trying to bridge across themselves. So a little bit odd, which made it a little bit more challenging to predict what riders are going to do, but all in all, it ended up being all right here. So we'll kind of skip to the end because that's where the real action seemed to occur here. Alright, so I skip forward here. We're going in with 2 laps to go. So I decide that will be a great time to move up without putting out very much power there, which was great. Now, one thing I wanted to focus on in case QCW was planning on doing a decent lead out was to make sure I was near the front to be able to try to jump on that train if that's what it came down to. So I have in the past left things a little bit too late, especially when there is 1 or 2 big teams, and then they seem to pick it up, and then it's wasting a lot of energy just to gain position. One thing that was a little bit odd, I think we might have missed a few laps, so they might have kind of hurried our race along a little bit, which is fine. But a little bit odd. It was supposed to be around 25 miles, but we ended up being around 22, 23 miles. So I think we lost somewhere. But regardless of that, just trying to stay up near the front, surf wheels, save as much energy as possible, especially on the finishing straight, and just try to jockey for position here. So really in the final, I felt like it's just trying to move up as much as possible, stay near the front. At this point, there's probably around 30 or so guys, so and a lot of them are quite rested because there were a few people, including the guy in the orange up here, that just kind of kept it together the whole race. Alright, so this is 1 lap to go. I'm right on a larger rider's QCW's wheel. And so now we start to kind of slow down. And one thing also to note is there is a 1 rider up the road that took a 2-lap flyer. Here, I'm not liking that it's starting to get really congested. QCW is not doing any sort of lead out, which definitely makes it a bit messy in the finish. So actually, ideally, I would have wanted to be on that QCW rider's wheel. So it's like I was a little bit too far forward, a little too far back. So this is up an incline. We're heading into the finish here. I definitely want to be a little bit farther up, so I decided to burn a little bit, burn a match here. But I end up being a little bit too far forward or too far back there, which forces me to brake hard. And then the same sort of thing here, which he leaves a lane open and then he kind of closed it down a little bit and then opened it back up. So a little bit hectic for the finish. There's the winner there. A little bit hectic for the finish, but I want to take us through basically the last part of that last straight. Alright, so we're heading in up the last straight here. So I find myself a little bit too far forward, a little bit too far back. So should have been on that QCW's wheel. Now I find myself a little bit too far back. And so really I needed to either sprint up to get onto the QCW's wheel or to get on this Excel rider's wheel. So I went kind of in between, which made me have to pull on the brakes hard. Then I get kind of caught behind this rider's wheel because I have someone to my right, leaving myself a little bit boxed in. So something that would have helped with all of that would have been to either sprint a little bit earlier to get in front of that one rider's wheel, or to kind of wait a little bit, get on that the guy with the red top, the Excel rider's wheel, to get onto his wheel and then go off that sprint. Ended up getting 5th overall, which is a pretty good result in the men's P123. A little bit of a smaller race, but definitely a few things to take away from it in terms of the finish here. And so hopefully taking away with those few things, we'll be in a little bit better shape here for the next race that's coming up here in a few weeks. Alright, well thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you have not yet, and we'll catch you on the next one.